happens when an I love you ends up taking you through your partner's romantic history? And what does it mean when they boil each one to who, what, when, where, and why? Through the deconstruction involved in both feminist and race theory, The Last by Wong Fu Productions undoes eurocentrism and humanizes Asian women as central characters by allowing them to simultaneously bear and create meaning. Wong Fu Productions has been creating high-quality video content since 2006 and has actively put Asian Americans at the forefront of their storytelling as they create the stories they wish they saw growing up and continue to cultivate the landscape online through miniseries and short films such as The Last. Algerian psychologist Fanon brings about the idea of double consciousness in his post-colonial/race theory in saying that our identities are divided into several parts that we often negotiate, producing internal conflict along with how people see themselves and the way they're seen. In the case of The Last, by the gazes of each woman, with the exception of why they enjoy being seen and are not sexualized and fetishized in any way, as the camera holds both an intimate yet respectful distance that shows they are enjoying their bodies and being open with the way they move without an unwanted sexual gaze. Regarding race, in her article Gnawing at the Whiteness of Cinema Studies on Asian American Media Now, Celine Parreñas Shimizu mentions Wong Fu's 2006 short Yellow Fever along with other YouTube personalities with a large following such as Ryan Higa and Michelle Phan, and she states, "Their everyday scenes about the mundane, particularly of their lives, diversify Asian representations globally with an up-to-the-minute relevance. Each character's Asianness in The Last isn't measured in any way that is culturally identifiable, aside from their physical features, as their race is normalized as being a part of them and showing their beauty as they would to someone with Eurocentric features." In What Was Asian American Cinema by Sylvia, Shin, Huey, Chong, she asks, "If the problem with racist representation is racial invisibility, then the solution seems to call for some kind of forced integration of American pop culture in order to claim visibility. And what might that cinema look like?" As this article was published in 2017, we started to get an answer to this question, and that cinema looks something like Crazy Rich Asians, To All the Boys I've Loved Before, Searching, and upcoming films like The Farewell and Always Be My Maybe. Wong Fu Productions represents a niche in online productions as they don't have the big Hollywood backing and prefer to self-fund to keep creative control after YouTube decided to not renew their series Single by 30, also starring Harry Shum Jr. and Kina Grannis, despite the large audience support. When The Last came out in 2012, the landscape for Asian American media was scarce, but it was 15-year-olds like myself, as well as the more general Asian American population who were seeking out this representation and demanding more of it, so we could see what our stories would look like too. The article The Daughter of Fu Manchu, The Pedagogy of Deconstructing the Representation of Asian Women in Film and Fiction by Shoba, Sharad, Rajgopal explains feminist film theory by saying, "Much of feminist film theory has been concerned with film as a signifying practice, as a locus of pleasure and entertainment, and as an instrument of dominant ideology, or conversely as a tool for political resistance and subversion." And later in the article, it said that the problem is not just that the male gaze remains intact, to utilize Laura Mulvey's famous critique, but that it is also an imperial patriarchal gaze wherein the colonized Asian figure is reduced to caricature. One of the great things about this short is that even though the real names of the women aren't given as to tell the specific story and possibly to protect his partner, is that he doesn't resort to using the male gaze to describe why he loved each woman, with the exception of Who, until he acknowledges that there was more to her than her beauty and sorority girl status, and that he did see her as more of a fantasy due to his youth and her being unattainable. Shimizu, in another article called Sex Acts, 2 Meditations on Race and Sexuality, she reflects on her own filmmaking in the Asian American community by saying, "For me, the most powerful moments in cinema are wordless. I remember images and emotions, never dialogue. This is because the film language itself, its meaning conveyed by the style, tone, and rhythms of the filmmaking. It's exactly in the ineffability of certain situations, the fact that speech cannot possibly render these moments, that the beauty and expressive capacity of cinema are best demonstrated. When each woman is displayed in The Last, it's her expression and body language that help tell the story of love, as we don't hear their side of the story, yet you can see the emotion they hold as they connect to our male protagonist's words. This both supports and contrasts part of Mulvey's manifesto, as she states that women are the bearers of meaning but not the creators. Each woman created their own meaning to our male lead through a relationship, especially his current partner, who creates the meaning of being the last for him by explicitly telling her that while she is the sixth, she's not who, what, when, where, or why, because she's now all of them as once, as she is his present as opposed to his past.
The sixth. So which one am I then?
You are none of them. Because you are all of them. You are who I love. The girl on the pedestal, the fantasy, the make-believe things that are actually true. You're what I love. The depth, the inside jokes, the best friend. You are when I love. A new history is being started with you. We are the young lovers our older selves will someday reminisce about. You are where I love, because I'd go anywhere just to be with you. You are why I love. Because before you, I didn't truly understand what I was looking for. And now that we've found each other, you've given my past and future meaning. You are the sixth. You are the last.
Through this short film, Wong Fu Productions celebrates and honors Asian American stories, women, and beauty by crafting a love story for the online masses while serving a community that has been long overlooked for the past 13 years. It doesn't shy away from emotion and truth, dilute women through the male gaze, or blame them for the end of a relationship, but allows for deep, albeit short, reflections on each of them, as well as the male lead, showing each character to be equally complex and important. The last helped me see myself represented all those many years ago, as it likely did with others in the Asian American community, and placed us in a love story that could be told by anyone, but Wong Fu took something seemingly universal and tactfully and beautifully put people I could identify with as leads and not side characters, making all the difference in the representation I began to seek out, because now seeing myself in Asian American cinema is no longer impossible as I once thought it was, and hopefully we can continue to blaze that trail for those who need it.